But you can do the same thing. You can do it if you've got a laptop and you've got internet and you've got a camera. You can do what I've done. And that more than 550 children. So many that the school are asking me to build them classrooms. We can all get up and do this, and it works. The model, the idea works. You're just asking persons who don't miss it to share a tiny little bit of money each week. People in the West, they don't miss that cup of coffee. They don't miss that bar of chocolate. They really don't. And I'm sure most of the sponsors would agree, they don't miss what they're sharing. Some, I know actually, they do have a little struggle, but they want to help. But for most people, they don't miss what they're sharing. So it works. All you've got to do is create the way for people to share, and then humanity will share.
Part of something special. We're a part of something special. It's a crack in time, a wrinkle falling from the nest, young eagle. I will pull my feathers out, stay humble, stay humble.
Hey guys, I just want to do a tiny video to show you something that I find quite cool. This here is from one of the schools we support, which is called Azamio, and it's a primary school. Now, Azamio this shows that the Children's Fund works, is what I'm making this tiny little video to say. The fund is working so well at that school. We are supporting over 200 children at the school. And when you support them, when the sponsors, because it's all through sponsorship, through you guys, some of you will be watching, some of you won't know what I'm talking about, but the sponsorship allows the children to go to school. It allows the families to have supplemented income or food, which stops the child having to labour to help feed themselves and the family. It allows for medical care for some children who are homeless. It allows for housing, etc. This has worked so well at this school, and I know this is coming from other schools now, that they have too many children. So they've come to me and said, yeah, we have too many children at the school now, John. The attendance has gone up too much for the area because the children are no longer in the quarries breaking stones or in the fields. Well, at harvest time, the children from the school are in the fields, but that's always the same in Tanzania. But I mean, as a full-time job, they're not in the fields. They're not breaking stones in the quarries. They're not working as house girls. They are not at home because the school's not allowed them to come in because they haven't paid for their meal money and stuff like this, you know. They are now at the school, but the school is so busy, which is bad because some of the children are now having to wait outside the classrooms to do their lessons because to have a free classroom, because all the classrooms are full with children learning, and there are several classes now that have to sit and wait outside, and they just sit under the trees and wait until the classroom is empty, then they go in and get their lessons taught because there's nowhere to teach them. There's just not space to do it. So even on exam time, I've seen children, this is bizarre for you to hear, I've seen children sitting in trees doing their exams, up in a tree doing their exams just because it's out the way and there's nowhere to sit in the school while they do it. But this shows that the fund works, and we have a lot of children. I have a file with me actually at the moment which is filled with children who are in trouble. So this child needs vocational training. Parents have died. Never knew her father and her mother has run away. Just countless sad stories. Her parents died this year. Poor girl. So, these children, that girl was 12 and her parents have just died, leaving her alone, which means the school have said, she needs support, or she can't do what she's doing, she can't come to the school. I seem a little detached when I read them. It breaks my heart when I read the file, because when you find out what's happening to some of these children, it's awful. But it's in having children like this, sponsors, of which we have 504, no, it's more. Some people are sponsoring 2 children. I have 544 sponsors, but some are sponsoring more than, so there's more than 550 children who you guys have allowed to go to school, who are not facing child labour, who are not facing hunger, who are not facing homelessness, who are not at risk of dying through silly things because they don't have 50 pence for medical care. And it works, is what I'm saying. This works, and people are only sharing a little bit. So what I suggest people do, first of all, I need to build a classroom for this school, is what I'm going to do. But what I suggest, because this works so well, is that people get out and do what I did. All I had was a laptop computer and a camera. This was it. I didn't speak Swahili, and I had money to fly there. Of course, if you can do some fundraising to set something up, I set what I set up with a little under £10,000. That was gone in 6 months. That included travelling costs, and then I could have done it for less, but I could have gone there with around about, I think, if I had £3,000, I could still go and do what I did. Because a lot of that money I spent on people going to university and stuff, whereas I could have fundraised for that. The websites I built myself, which didn't really help because they weren't great, but you can do the same thing. You can do it if you've got a laptop and you've got internet and you've got a camera. You can do what I've done. And that's more than 550 children. So many that the school are asking me to build them classrooms. We can all get up and do this, and it works. The model, the idea works. You're just asking persons who don't miss it to share a tiny little bit of money each week. People in the West, they don't miss that cup of coffee. They don't miss that bar of chocolate. They really don't. And I'm sure most of the sponsors would agree, they don't miss what they're sharing. Some, I know actually, they do have a little struggle, but they want to help. But for most people, they don't miss what they're sharing. So it works. All you've got to do is create the way for people to share, and then humanity will share. Now, the problem you have, though, is that there are massive organisations doing it, and they're spending millions on advertising. They're spending millions on staff, on like CEOs getting paid £500,000 driving around in Porsches running charities. That's not charity. I'm sorry, it's not charitable to drive a Porsche while there are suffering children and then ask people to pay money to help the children. Sell your Porsche. I am speaking of a specific charity, but I don't want to start slandering another charity. But the person who runs that charity is driving around in a Porsche. Sell it and help the children that you're asking other people on TV to help. If you have a heart for it, that's what you should do. This is how charity should work. You shouldn't do it for financial gain or for a... If you're going to live in London, fair dues, give them a decent salary so they have a comfortable way of life. But don't give them such a large salary like £500,000. A human being can live on less than that in England. They don't need it. They just don't. I could run one of those large charities for free. And I could run it better than those guys are running it. I know I could for a fact. And I'm sorry to be so confident in that, but I could. So those big charities are trying, but they are losing money in their systems and in their setup. So what I'm saying is, if we make small operations, like mine is growing now and it's getting quite big, I admit that, but if everyone went out and did that, if 10 people did what I did, just 10 people, that's 5,000 children. I've eradicated child labour in Uchira pretty much, there's no need for it. That 10 people could do it in 10 other communities. You know, these things can happen. There's thousands of people out there could do this. If thousands of people did it, then what would happen? Humanity would shift, consciousness would shift, and people would shift. And we would just go out there and we would do it. And as a collective, one by one, we'd say, wow, technology can be used for more than creating my electronic farm or poking my friend or staring blankly at prank videos on YouTube. Technology can actually allow humans to connect with one of the most beautiful aspects of their nature and share with children, men, women and children around the planet who are suffering. And it works so well. The model I have up to now works so well. All I've done is use a Facebook, a camera, a laptop, and using PayPal to collect the sponsorship and staying on the ground in the country in question, which is difficult to do, to make sure the money is distributed correctly, and only employing native staff to the country that you're working in, so as you're not having to pay extortionate salaries to anybody. Because obviously the economy is low, so you pay less salary to such people. A very well-educated person can get paid as little as £100 a month in Tanzania. So this works. It solves the problem. If I can start building classrooms, then I can start eventually having a say in the schools, which I'm starting to have now. If you can have a say in the schools, you can have a say elsewhere. I've got friends now who are in charge of areas and the Ministry of NGO governance and stuff like this in Tanzania, where I've met with them and we've spoken about the concept of changing the education system. You can do this, but it needs to begin with you getting up, going, with a laptop and a camera, and that's it. And then just putting the message out, showing the world, instead of not letting the BBC restrict them from seeing it, showing them, look, right now, look. Don't watch the match, watch this, look at this child right now while you sit there and don't do anything. This child's starving. Can you do something? Can you possibly, while you watch the match or watch whatever you're doing, while you go out with your friend, could you possibly just have one less drink this week and help the child? You can still do what you're doing, you can still live your life. And this is all you need to put it to people, and it works. Because humans are not evil. Humans care. But the problem is, it's debatable if the humans who are so wrapped up in profit behave in an evil manner by accident. Because they don't let you see the truth of things. But we don't need to do that anymore. Technology and the world is so connected and easy to move around now that people like me, a working class man from a mining village in the northeast of England, without any education in how to do what I'm doing, is now supporting over 550 children and is the guardian of over 30 children, half of which have disabilities and half of which were homeless on the street. In the matter of a few years, through the power of social media and technology used in the correct way. And I say we should all be doing this, because it can and will change the world if we all keep going and doing it and using technology and social media to not just have lots of fun, but to improve the quality of life for the people on the planet who have no chance of fun because they're seeking food and they're seeking a way to not be sick every day. So, I know I've had a little bit of an emotional spin-off there, but in short, the Children's Fund works, so thank you for supporting me. And it definitely works, as I say, because there's so many kids at this school, they need me to build them classroom. So I think it's just amazing. Okay, much love, guys.